So this is our database, and the way we got all the information in the first place was that we sent emails to our dorm asking people to input their names, their years, emails, and majors. And then we put all this in a JSON file as a JSON object. Then next we have the alumni library. These are all the functions that will later allow us to actually get the information from our database. And we have different functions which target specific fields of the database. For example, name, section, year, and all these will be used on later on by the front end.
So as he was saying, those library functions will be used in this controller. As requests come in from the front end to the server, the controller will process them as such, like this GET request here, which will utilize the GET person function in the library of the database. Of course, we have a put request that will utilize the set person, for example, and so on and so forth, as you can see for the different requests that we are able to handle. Delete, get a specific person, get by major, which gets everyone of the same major. Get by year, likewise gets everyone with that year in that class, and get by section. So then this is our test file, which was useful in debugging and seeing which requests and functions were going awry. So this was a useful file in the back end creation process that we just wanted to share, such that you could see the different tests we use. And of course, here's the server, the Cherry Pie server with the options controller just built in here, and the cores methods just put right in here to allow all the different types of methods and to just allow them from anywhere, as we don't mind who uses this website or uses this data. And then of course, the different connections that the server uses to process GET requests and delete requests and put requests from the front end, that we'll take a look at in a second. And this is just the configuration of that server, again, utilizing cores and able to start the server here. One note about this that you'll see in the code demo video, the functionality of the front end is how we start the server. I'm utilizing my Python 3, which is this shebang, which allows me to start the server with the / server.py.
Here we have the HTML and a few things that we have here, or for example, a form from which later on the JavaScript is going to get the different user inputs. Then we also have a few buttons that will also either submit the form or later on they will clear the information. And then finally, we have a div where we will display the search results. Initially, it's empty, but then we change the inner HTML using JavaScript. And wait, you go ahead.
So this is our the JavaScript that we utilize to change the inner HTML, as well as to make the requests and get the data from the form, stuff like that. So as you can see, this is a clear button, which will clear the form data on one of our pages, and we have the different display buttons for each of our different pages, which is why we have this if statement, because if we're on, for example, if we're on the majors page, the sections button is not there. So we check that so that we don't get a JavaScript error. And then we carved out some of these functions such as clear form and get form info, which then calls a get by function, which processes a get request to get that specified person from the form. And we also have a get by major request to get that person from the specified major. Likewise, get by year and get by section are very similar. Display results is what we use to change the inner HTML of our search results div container. And it basically goes through the results we got and adds each person to them, which we use another function to do, add to results that person, so that we can like abstract the code into different functions. We also use a filter results function primarily in the get by form, which is on the homepage. And then these last few functions are for put, post, and delete respectively. Update dog would be for a put request where we must construct the body based off the given form info and then search for that user and make the put request to that person in the database. Post, similarly, we get the data and we just make the request as we're adding a new person. And delete, we get the data and must search for that person and make the delete request. And then this inform user is used in the CRUD operations put, post, and delete to inform the user that it was either successfully created or deleted or updated. So basically, the way this code is working is that the user is making requests, which is fielded by the JavaScript, which is sent to the server, and the CORS is processed, making sure it's a valid request able to be sent. And then the server sends that request to the controller, which utilizes the library functions that we have defined to actually get the data that the user requested. And of course, that data is coming from our database here.